Welcome to the Insurance Guy Podcast. From sales to insurance advice, we discuss ways to protect your business and grow it. Make sure to like and share this podcast. And don't forget to check us out at theinsurers.ca for all your business insurance needs. And here's your host.
Hey everybody, this is On the Insurance Guy. Part of being really successful in business and sales is, you need to have a certain set of skill sets. With me today I have Mr. Sajid Ali Mohammed. First of all, thank you so much for coming by.
It's my pleasure, Owen.
So he has a really specific skill sets. He's a leader developer. What exactly is a leader developer?
Well, practically speaking, I help people lead their lives. So when I say leader developer, I develop leaders of their own lives so that they can find the success and the happiness and basically live an extraordinary life the way that they want to on their terms. Really what I do is I help people develop their mindset and understanding of who they are, a lot of self-awareness, so that they can start to develop their true confidence and understanding of what their purpose is on this earth, what they want to see, where they want to go in life, what they want to experience, so that they can end up having that more fulfilled life, helping others then do the same thing.
How important is confidence in leadership?
100% confidence. If you don't have confidence, you can't do much. You can't really lead your life in any way or lead anybody else for that matter, right? So how do you build confidence really? Everything comes back to our influences. Okay. The people that we're around, the situations that we've seen in our lives, what's gone right for us, what hasn't gone so well for us. The television shows that we watch, the music, the places that we go to. All of these things affect our mind. Right?
Consciously and subconsciously.
That's right. Consciously and subconsciously, right? And as they affect our minds, we form certain beliefs around those, around different things. And some of those beliefs will break our confidence. And some of those beliefs will build on our confidence. So for example, let's look back to when we were in school. Right? We might have had a teacher that we really looked up to. And we might have just in one segment, maybe it's English class, or maybe it was the way we spelled, maybe it was in math class. That teacher that we looked up to might have said to us, you know what, you're really good at fractions, but when it comes to multiplication, there's something wrong. You're just not that good at it. There's something wrong there with multiplication. So what ends up happening then is this idea gets into our mind, and it starts to fester in there. And as time goes on, if we start to see that in our results we're not doing well when it comes to multiplication, we will continue to start believing more and more that we can't do multiplication. It's not necessarily true that we can't. Now you see, we have our conscious mind and we have our subconscious mind. Our conscious mind can actually differentiate what's right from what's wrong. But our subconscious mind, it just takes everything like it's a sponge. Look at it like this. If you have a farmer's field, right? Whatever you sow, you reap, right? So if you sow a few good, tomatoes, for example, or some peas and stuff like that, that's good. But if you also have some weed seeds that are growing there as well, the weeds are going to grow as well as what you want to grow, the tomatoes and the peas. All of that stuff will grow, right? And the land does not differentiate between what is good and what is not. It will just grow what's there. Right? The same way for our subconscious mind. So we can't necessarily differentiate right from wrong from our subconscious mind level. Our analytical mind can do that, our conscious mind. So as time goes on, if we see that, this person said I'm not good at this, I'm not good at math, right? It gets into our head, I'm not good at math. Then if we see a result and we write a test and we see a result that shows that I'm not good at math,
you start to
I believe
it.
I reinforce that belief. and I will keep on putting myself further and further in the hole every time somebody says, hey, can you do this math problem? Oh, no, I'm not good at math.
Yeah, it becomes a part of your, you make it a part of your character. It starts to solidify itself as your identity.
Think of our subconscious mind as sort of like it's a weighing scale. Okay, we have a bunch of scales on different things. And the subtotal thought of all these different weighing scales is where we stand. So for example, let's take the math example, right? Okay. So we're told, yeah, we're not so good at math. But then we take a course one day, or we're around our children and our child says, you're so, like, thank you so much for helping me, you were so good at this. And we say, yeah, I know how to do addition and subtraction, no problem, right? And then they get into multiplication and you start looking at these pages of their textbook and you say, hey, I can do this, I can get the right answer here. And then from there you say, hey, you know what, you go for a course, for example, and you realize that you excelled in that course in math. And as time goes on, you start to develop a different understanding of your abilities in math, right? And so that scale starts to tip on the other side, and you start to believe, you know what, I can do math. Now it depends on what level. Let's see what's the next level that I can do of math. You know, same thing goes for public speaking, right? So many of us have a fear of public speaking, right? And then one day we are put in a position where, you know, we're doing a group project and we have to present. And we go up there for the first time with our knees shaking and, you know, we're ready to basically pee our pants. And while we're giving that presentation, we're so nervous about it and our voice is shaky. And then after the presentation, one person or another comes up to you and says, you know, I really appreciated that presentation. It gave me a lot of insight and you did an excellent job of presenting that. Thank you so much. What happens to our confidence and our thought on public speaking at that point? It starts going up, right? That scale starts tipping on the positive side. Then you give another presentation or another one, and then you start to realize after a while that, hey, everybody's appreciating these presentations. It's just me that's holding myself back. So the more you take action then and start building on that and saying, okay, let me do another presentation, all of a sudden your fears your fears go down, your confidence starts going up, and you start to believe that, hey, you have something to contribute, you have a way to do it, you're good at public speaking, you should do it more often.
The public speakers admit that they get scared right off the bat. Like, they get nervous before. Even Tony Robbins says he gets scared, and he has a specific way he pumps himself up before he gets up on stage.
So let's talk a little bit about that, right? So as I mentioned, our influences, now that's the starting point. Our influences affect our thoughts. Right? So like that teacher that said maybe you're not good at something, or maybe you're very good at another thing. They have influence now with our thoughts. Now, so our thoughts then affect our beliefs, right? So the more we hear these things, the more we have a belief then that, hey, I have something special, I have a unique ability, or I have certain strengths in these areas, right? And then your confidence starts building. With that confidence then building, your beliefs then affect the actions that you take. Because you're good at something, you will likely take action on it. Right? It brings you pleasure. Hey, I'm good at this. Let me show the world. Let me show everybody that I'm good at this. Let me show myself. This gives me pleasure. You know, then people come up to me. Maybe they'll compliment me on certain things. So you take action on these things that you believe. Whatever you believe is true or not true, right? You're right. It's correct. But now you're taking action on it. And then the action that you take will affect the results that you have. So if you're constantly taking negative action, you'll have negative results. But if you're constantly taking these positive actions, then you'll see positive results, right? Like the average of your five
closest friends. So who do you surround yourself with? Do you have people who are avoiding, are they successful? Are they, you know, not to dismiss people's success, but do you see them being ambitious? Are you surrounding yourself with people who are taking chances, business-minded people if that's what you want, or, you know, whatever your goal is? Are you surrounding yourself with those people? And you may analyze your friends and go, yeah, these guys were great, my great friends back in school and my high school, but they're not going to take me to the next level career-wise. And that's where networking comes handy, where you join groups into similar interest. What can business owners and sales professionals do to kind of build their confidence to be able to pick up the phone?
That's a very good question. They say, I think there's a saying of the sort that 95% of the race is won before the race even starts.
Mentally preparing yourself.
It's all about mental preparation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the vast majority of it, right? So when it comes to what would you say to a certain question that might be brought up or a comment, you have to be prepared for that ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also something that would help is looking at what is it that you want to give to the customer. What is it? What problem are you trying to really solve for them?
Okay.
And how that jives with you as a person.
Right.
If you feel that you're adding value to their life, you have something to really contribute to them, to make their life in a better way, to keep them away from harm in a certain way. Right? If you have something that you're providing of value, then really what should be going through your mind at that point is, I need to reach out to people to give them that value that I can give them. Right? If you're thinking about the negative connotations or what might happen if somebody answers the phone and they're rude to you, then you'll never pick up the call. Really, the first part of sales has to do with understanding your client and being able to relate to them in the best way. Right?
Okay.
So, I mean, there are so many aspects. There's the aspect of, are they ready to purchase, or is this a busy time that they're picking up the phone? They might, when you're calling them, they just might be in the worst of situations.
Yeah, they just got rejected from a big deal or something of the sort.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're the scapegoat. Happens.
That could be it. Or they might have a family emergency and they're just gonna, hello, no, I don't have time for this. Hang up the phone. It's got nothing to do with you at all. So you can't take this stuff personal.
No.
Really, what you need to do is you should look at where have you found success before, right?
Where have you found success?
And start looking at that and saying, okay, I remember I did this call this day, and there was this pause. They were very appreciative. It ended up turning into a sale or whatnot, right? An opportunity, and start focusing on those things and saying, okay, I'm making these phone calls to add value. I'm helping that other person to add value to their life. We all have inside of us some kind of this little spirit inside of us that stops us a lot of times from wanting to take action because it's fear of the unknown, what's on the other side there, right? But there are people who have seen that success, so it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be afraid of it, right? You should welcome the successes, go for the successes, and move yourself in that direction of the positivity instead of worry about the fears and the negative side of things. Now, the next level of that is, see, our influence then become who we are, right? Automatically what happens is, if you're around people that are always saying the same things like, oh, I suck at this, or I can't hit the ball properly in baseball or whatnot, you will start to say the same thing yourself.
He's having that problem, I'm going to have the same problem as him because I'm like him.
That's right? And the same goes on the positive side. So essentially what happens is you yourself are your biggest influence because you're with yourself all the time. And if it all depends now on what story you're telling yourself on a daily basis. You can actually stack the dice, or you can fix the deck in your favor because you know now you have the ability with your subconscious mind to start to believe whatever you want to believe. Right? Just like we're told, whoever your top 5 people are, that will tell you who you are, which means if you're around the wrong people, you will develop the wrong beliefs. And this is where the leadership development really comes in. When I say that I'm a leader developer, it's really where I help people to really develop, chisel out what is it that they want to see in their life. What is it that's going to bring them that happiness, that fulfillment, what excites them, and start to develop a major, like a larger than life story for themselves, a future projection of what they want to see, and then start working towards achieving that through influencing the mind, using the mind as a power tool in your favor.
And
everything essentially then comes back to our daily habits, because everything we do on a day-to-day basis has a compound effect.
yes.
We might not see it today. We won't even see it a month from now. But if you keep on doing, for example, if you keep on doing push-ups and sit-ups on a daily basis, after 2 months, you're gonna see a drastic difference in yourself. If you want to change something that you're doing, that you see in your life right now, that you're not happy with, you have to change something that you're doing daily. That's really what it comes down to.
What would be one tip that you would give the viewers that they can start implementing right away with like minimal effort?
I think the number one thing I could say about that is journaling. Journaling every day.
Okay.
Now, when I'm talking about journaling, I'm talking about just listing off it takes 5 minutes, really.
Yeah.
But listing off successes that you've seen for that day.
Okay.
Right? Listing off things that you're grateful for. And they could be the same thing all the time. I'm grateful for my family.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for, the beautiful weather, for example. It could be something as that. I'm grateful for the new client that I have.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I learned a specific skill or something. Right? I'm grateful for a specific person in my life that's changing my influence in the positive direction.
Yeah.
Right? So that gratefulness. And then what are things that you've done during your day that are impacting your happiness level, bringing you up a notch in your happiness? So, my philosophy is you can only really experience happiness if you're experiencing it. You have to actually feel it. You have to be in the moment at some point in your day. Take that breath and say, I'm enjoying myself. I'm happy right now. Right? It comes from, gratitude and happiness are very close to each other, right?
Okay.
So when something good is happening in your day, stop and be grateful for it.
Okay.
And while you're stopping and being grateful for it, you feel that happiness inside of you. You're right. When you're journaling, you're registering your day.
Yeah.
You're bringing it into your consciousness, and you're looking at the positive side of things, especially if you're doing this before bed. It's the best thing you can do, because the next few hours you're going to spend with your subconscious mind active.
Yeah.
You want it to be attracting good. You want it to be attracting positivity.
Right.
So right before bed, if you're doing that journaling and you're bringing that consciousness of positivity in your mind, the successes, the gratitudes, the happiness, your subconscious mind is going to attract just that for you.
Yeah. It's and I believe it's a very strong thing. Sajid, you provide so much information to all of us, so many tips and so forth. I'm sure people are going to have some questions and stuff like that. How can people reach out to you? And you mentioned you wanted to say something to the viewers as well.
So I'll give you my email address. I think that's probably the easiest way.
We'll link
to
it.
contact.
We'll link it down.
Okay, so it will be linked below. For anybody who's interested, basically what I'm offering is you can contact me at the email below. If it's from this, mention Owen's podcast here, or this interview, and I will offer you a free consultation session, basically.
Yeah, and this consultation isn't like a 5-minute session. The man's giving a good chunk of his time. He's offered to give you guys up to between 45 minutes to an hour's worth of his time for free, for just to have a chat with you, and his time is very valuable, and so is yours. But it's something that the viewers really do appreciate, and so do I appreciate for providing it to the viewers. Again, we'll link the email. Just make sure that you put in the subject the Insurance Guy Podcast. Just put down the On's Podcast, and Sajid will definitely schedule you in and guide you through the process and help you. And that's what the main goal is, right? To help one another in this case. And otherwise, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. This was wonderful for me. Even I learned a lot from it. It was a great, there was a lot of parts that it was a great reminder and a refresher, and there were a lot of points in this which were new for me as well. So I hope you all enjoyed it, and once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Take care.
Thank you very much, guys.
Before I wrap up, I just wanted to say I really appreciate your time. Would love it if you could subscribe and share this podcast, and also check us out at theinsurers.ca.